Hi, Tony Bradshaw with AddSomeToYourIncome.com, here to guide you to a discovery, to help you discover 52 ways to add some to your income. This is really just one big challenge. I hope you accept this challenge, and I hope to hear from you about how it goes for you. 52 ways to add some to your income. I have done this. I have written a book about it. The book still needs editing and isn't yet ready for purchase. So this will give you some of the pieces inside of that book and really the one big challenge I'm talking about. So let's dive in. With my focus on ways to add to my income, with my need to figure out the budget, right? You know budget. A mathematical confirmation of your suspicions. You know how you look at it and you see, all right, that's where our money went. I kept looking at it. I kept reading financial advice. I myself have a degree in economics. I teach about money. And I felt like we were scrimping, barely getting by. That's when I realized to focus on the income. Why keep focusing on the negative when I can focus on the positive and look for ways to increase my income? This has become my life focus. How is it that people make lots of money? Well, the big thing that I like to say, number one way, is to create like crazy. Just recently, I had an idea that I came across years ago, and it finally made money. Just within the last couple of weeks, I got with a designer who was able to make a shirt that was able to sell, and I've seen money finally come from this idea. I feel like I jumped ahead of myself right there in talking about create like crazy. Let me get back to the challenge and what I did. So one year, I decide I'm going to finally write the book. I like to talk and I like to talk. I love to read books. I read about 52 books a year. That's just a book a week. And I read 52 books a year on most given years. I finally decided I'm going to write a book, but to write the book, to finally sit down and write this book. One of the things that helped me was my brother-in-law, who's become a best-selling author, saying he set aside one night a week for 3 hours he would write. On his commute, he would work on like how the story was going to go, what the next chapter would be. And his goal was to write a chapter a week. That's 52 chapters a year. That's a book a year. And he did it. So I decided to take a little tip from his experience and set aside one day a week where I would write about that week. And not just write about ways to make money, but to be specific about something I had done that week to add to my income. So this challenge, boy, I started that new year and I'm thinking, okay, what am I actually going to do this week that I can say adds to my income? What is it that I'm going to be able to sit down? It was on Mondays. What am I going to do Monday when I go to sit down and write that I did this week? And so through the week, I just did that exercise. I trained my brain. And there were weeks it was really tough. I'd sit down and I'd be like, oh, I don't know that I've really done anything. I've been busy with school and young children. What did I do this week? It's adding to my income. Other weeks, of course, it was easy. This is your challenge. This is the way that you'll be able to discover 52 ways to add some to your income. Decide that each week you're going to record what you did to add to your income. What you did to add to your income is going to require you that throughout the week you're going to do certain things. And then you get to the end of that week to sit down and you'll be like, you know what? Guess what? I went and I helped someone move. This was one of my weeks. I helped someone move. And I'm just helping. These are people I know, and I'm helping them move. In that process, they gave me more money than the gas that I burned going back and forth between the two. They're moving things. They'd moved into their new house. They're bringing things out of the storage into their house, and I used my truck and I went back and forth, and they paid me more money than the gas that I burned. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I wasn't helping to make money, but I did make money from it. They also gave us a watermelon. When I came home, the kids were very excited about the watermelon. I personally was really excited that I got more money than the gas that I had burned. I added to my income in a way that was unexpected, simply by giving and helping other people. Some weeks I'd sit down and I'd be able to say I just did 3 signatures and got over $2,000. And on that one, the title is Stipend, Stipend, Stipend. Because at school, that was the week when it was time to be signing up for the stipends that pay out that extra money. Stipend, I didn't always know what that was, but the first time I heard about it, my principal had come to me right after I asked him the question, what more can I do to make more money? And he walks with that piece of paper that says if I do some extra work outside of the classroom, I'd get $600. He explains, you already did all this work, you just need to sign here and you'll get $600. And at the time I was like, what's a stipend? What's he talking about, stipend? And then I was like, I like stipends. So that week in my 52 weeks, I had made the signatures for stipend as well as applying for scholarship and a grant. And 3 signatures, over $2,000 in 1 week. 1 week, I made the title of it Reap. In that week, $6,000 had returned to me from prior investments. I kind of felt great, where my teacher income is about 1/3 of that in a month, and I brought back in $6,000. In that entry, it was fun to reread because I was saying how now I've got this money, I need to actually figure out how I'm going to reinvest it because it was investment money. So it stayed in the investment fund. And I'm like, okay, so now I got to think about, okay, how am I going to get these Benjamin Franklins to go somewhere else? What's the next thing I'm going to invest in? And so I ended that chapter. I'm probably giving too much away. I'm not going to do all 52 weeks with you because the process is to learn how to sit down once a week and record what you did to add some to your income. And you're going to find what works for you. You're going to see the ways that the money works for you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, at the end of that chapter I wrote sow, as in S-O-W. S-O-W is where you put seeds in the ground. If you followed me very much or seen some of my videos about ways to increase your income, when I focus on passive income, I talk about you plant the seeds, you weed, you water, you eventually harvest, you take it to market and sell. A lot of my chapters talked about selling. We did a number of different things that we sold throughout the year, like we did a bake sale. We had a booth set up at an event to sell some of I believe that was my wife's artwork. It was either her artwork. It was either artwork or we had made some things from her artwork. Just different ways to sell things that I had mentioned throughout the book. I mentioned grant. In one of my entries, I got over $2,000 from the PTA. That was kind of a fun one because when I first went to the PTA, I'm like, I'd like all this money. And they're like, let's table that for later. That's a lot of money. Our next meeting a month later, these parents came in so excited. One parent was like, I thought Mr. Bradshaw was asking for really expensive stuff, but he's actually asking for the best deal on the market. And another parent's like, I did some more research on this too, and I've discovered that what he's wanting to do is totally right on. It's vogue, it's modern, it's the thing to do. We should really support him. And they just quickly were like, we're going to support you and get a class set of 30. And I'm just like, this is awesome. Thank you so much. One of my weeks I mentioned make deals. So there's a game that I like to play with my own children and with my students called Payday. As you go through the month, you get paid, you have expenses, life happens, and along the way, you're able to purchase deals and then find a buyer. That finding the deal, buying the deal, and then selling it to a buyer is where you really win the game. That's the game of life too. So in connection with that, when you're making deals, when you're working to make things happen in your life, you want to be friends. You want to stay connected with people. One of my entries was about something that wasn't specific money in my pocket. I kind of got interesting with that. Like, this adds to my income. It was this is something that really gave me an experience. That was when our realtor that we stayed in contact with, that we bought our home through, had an offer that I just had to like figure out what she was actually saying at first. I'm like, wait, what are you really saying? And the offer was to past clients to go see a brand new movie out. It was the Avengers Endgame. And so we go and we see Avengers Endgame. That was just staying connected. That was being friendly. That was like, this person matters to me. So whatever this is that just sent, I'm going to try and figure out what she's saying. Like, is she really saying what she's saying? She really is. So when you are open like that and you stay connected, you're going to see opportunities. One of my entries, this will probably be my last one I say. I was sitting down with a financial advisor, and this financial advisor, he came into my classroom because I was talking about things I wanted to set up and some financial advice. And he had been through the school. I'd gotten in contact with it through the school district, and he's an outside company. But anyway, so he's in my classroom and he's saying, well, yeah, because I was saying there are opportunities around to add to your income. He's like, yeah, well, your income's kind of set. You're a teacher. You really, that's how much you make, right? And I said, well, I just try to remain open to opportunities. 90 seconds later, in walks a person who's in charge of the daddy-daughter dance. And she says, hey, Mr. Bradshaw, we'd like to find out if you would be willing to do XYZ at the daddy-daughter dance, and we'll pay you $100. I said, yeah, I'll do that. I had to like really bite my tongue. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah. And he later asked how the daddy-daughter dance went. I shouldn't end it there. That makes him, it was fine. He's really honest, right? There's like, that's how people think. Your income is set as it's set. I should end on a little bit better one. This one was be the expert. I took my van to someone else. So I've got this person who's also a teacher, and I've gone over and worked at his place before. And when I'm there actually working on the car, he likes to just have that be what it is and not charge. Well, I go home and try to work on the van later, and I can't put it back together right. I can't get it to work right. Something I was totally like having issues with what should have been an easy thing. They took me all Saturday. I was just trying to change the coils in the car for the between the thing that sends the spark and the spark plug. There's a coil. It's a black thing. Oh my goodness. I had to put it back together and not change them. And I took it over there, and we had to leave it. I'm like, here it is. We'll pay you for it. And he was able to get it done in less than an hour. It had taken me all Saturday. But he's one of those guys. It's like, oh, here's the right tool. I love just having the right tool. And this is what he does. He works on engines. He actually does robotics at the school. And so it's like engines. He's the expert, and we paid him money to be the mechanic who was able to get done what I was not accomplishing. So the challenge for 1 year, 52 weeks, each week, write down what you do to add some to your income. If you accept this challenge, I'd love to hear how it goes for you. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.